Good afternoon, Scott Redler T3 Live. Welcome to today's recap. It is Thursday. Feels like it's been a long week because, you know what, it might have been a long week. Anyway, with that said, markets, had a little bit of a rangy type day where we opened up, then within the first 30 minutes, the market faded down to some support and then came back up to where we were open and then, closed right around there. So all in all, it was a rangy type day, but lots of different types of trades keep showing their face to make you some tactical money or to just reward you for holding on to situations that have been trending, that have been working, that have been in play for multiple months. So with that said, I'm just going to show you the indices and then I'm going to start rolling through some things with some levels and thoughts, just like we do when we post the charts. So here's the SPX. Take a look right here. First of all, here's the trend that's been in place since we started the year. Very nice trend, very gradual. No real macro investors worried all year long. Okay, we had some upper areas that were elevated. We call these the elevated trends, and this was one of them that got broken right here, which gave you some follow through to the outside day on May 22nd to the downside, but not much. This was what, 6% from highs to lows. So anyway, when we took back the 100-day, this was your time to get back into some risk. This is when we digested off the lows and took back the 50-day, and then from there, it's been back to the normal trend that we've seen for most of the year. So with that said, we were holding higher, holding above this 1671 we talked about many times, and finally, going into last week, we had this breakout above the prior high to get us to 1700 to get the roadmap completed. So with that said, you take a little look here, and we're talking about this upper range now. So let's take a closer look at this upper range. So here we are. If you were cute and fast and active when we broke 1703 or broke and closed below 1700, on this day, you could have switched some gears, taken off some risk, maybe loaded up on some spider short for a move down to the 21-day. Okay, and that's basically where we came down to, went as low as 1684. So, what was that, 20-some handles? So from there, we came up a little bit, and now we're still in this range. So you have a few things going on. We have a long August in front of us. We could be in this channel, okay, for a long period of time, okay, just maneuvering in here, and you'll see stocks continuing to act okay. Or, some bears are drawing, this head and shoulders type pattern, which it could be. Now you draw this is your left shoulder, this could be your head, and this could be the forming of the right shoulder. And then if this support were to break, then perhaps we get some volatility coming into, the end of August into the fall, which historically isn't the best time frame for stocks. So at this point, though, we don't really know. We can just navigate these different ends of the market and make sure to check the leadership, look at different types of stocks. And with that said, there are some things acting very well and some things that, are kind of out of play and sit on the curb. First things first, I just want to talk about Tesla. Congratulations if you are an Elon Musk fan. Congratulations if you've, been in this stock. It's giving you multiple setups. You could just be a trader in it. You could have been an investor in it. But if you did nothing in it, you're sitting in probably at home watching people talk about it on CNBC, and you're like, how did I miss out on this? Anyway, John, our editor-in-chief's been all over it since like 60 or 70. I started to trade it and put it on the go-to list every day and have it in the morning call probably 3 to 5 times a week, since. And look what happened with Tesla today. Congratulations if you've been in it for what has been an enormous ride. Electrifying, red dogism. Anyway, with that said, lots of different ways to approach this stock. Now, just to let you guys know, strong stocks hug the 21-day and typically don't break it, 8 and 21. Strong stocks even test a 50. So with that said, I know it's a high valuation. I know the PE's in the sky, blah, 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 blah. From last earnings till where we are, we never broke and closed below the 21-day except for one day. So even if you got out on this day after the Goldman Sachs note, here was your red dog reversal, and then commitment to it, higher, and then it continued its trend, and that's where you are. So if you're an investor and you're sitting in it, why not trim and trail a little bit, but, put it in the drawer. It looks like, earnings are behind them, and we'll see the action. How do you now look to see if This is a doji top, which a lot of people, the bears, are all saying, oh, look at this, it couldn't get more upside, but look, the type of move that it had. So what you need to do now is just see some digestion. You don't need to be so active in the stock now. It might take 2 sessions, it might take 3, it might take 4, but now we have points of reference here if you're just going to actively trade it. You have 150.46, and you have the high here of 150.88, and we probably need to absorb this. If in the next few sessions it came into this gap and filled a big portion of it, this was your excitement, exhaustion gap. If we go sideways and digest, hold this and keep the shorts trapped, okay, and see people paying up here, then you'll know that the road to the next level higher will be, paved in the coming months. So for me, I on the virtual trade floor, I went long the options, and I wound up getting out of most of them around 155, so it was a nice little play. I think guys that traded it intraday had a nice little trade right here, just to show you how, you could do something on a calculated basis, intraday. Let's go to the videotape, so to speak. This is the 5-minute chart. I don't know why I cut off here. Let's go 8-minute. Okay, it's getting cut off, but anyway, I'll come back to it. Anyway, we'll revisit. All in all, lots of nice action here, even some short side type action too if you do that. So with that said, earnings are behind us. Now it needs some time, so it won't be on the radar as an A play every day. Same way, a stock like LinkedIn, also digesting from earnings. This has been an unbelievable mover. Starting all the way back here when it came public. Big valuation, I know, high PE. If you listen to all the naysayers out there, you're never going to get involved in some of the best acting stocks out there, because most of the biggest winners come from high valuations, high growth situations, and they grow into them. Anyway, here's that cup and handle breakout. So just to show you, like with Tesla, sometimes, they're just going to range there. So you don't want to do too much. This is a big gap. It actually tested it a little bit, came back up, and now it's still here. So who knows how long it's going to last in there, but at some point maybe it gets going, so it's on the radar. It didn't move like the Facebook that was a little bit more pent up. That here is that 3-day move, traded above it, and then you saw some nice movement, and now it's just kind of stalling up here versus the high. So you also want to maybe give this some space while it digests a huge move. On the weekly, talked about the this cup and handle pattern as well for the investor. Who accumulated in this pattern. It definitely was a little frustrating at times, but here's that descending channel that got resolved with force to the highs. So anyway, another nice, type of situation that people are tracking. So with that said, there's definitely, I would say Amazon and Google are just sort of out of play. I'll show you Amazon. Sperling's been wrestling with this ever since, remember that earnings day when they kind of caught the shorts off guard. Since then, it's been just dribbling lower and the action hasn't been good. I think you could stay away if you're not long it, if you're just trying to trade it. It hasn't been anything worthwhile. Google also is still just trying to, it's like holding on to this trend line here. Lots of frustrated people in Google. I tried it in here, and then you had this push through failure, which made me a little frustrated, so now I got out of the way. And how we'll know if we're going to break to the downside of this trend, supposedly, is if Google breaks 875 and gets crushed. If Amazon gets below that 295 and can't find a friend. If Apple, which has been acting well, all of a sudden that's it. Where we've had this really nice move in Apple. I haven't traded in 2 days, by the way. I sold it into this move and just showed you that it was a little extended, and now it's trying to hang around. So we'll see what happens coming into the support. It did hold the 8-day, so it'll be worth a look. But all in all, after the earnings, you had a nice gap up, 3 days worth of consolidation. You could have bought it in this consolidation or bought it when it went above this 444, and then there you go. At this point, it still looks pretty good. Okay, it's still trying to digest, but you don't know if it needs to come down to the 21-day or if it's going to, hold higher. So for me, it's not on my A play list. It's like my A- to B+ list. So, it was kind of nice is some off the beaten path type of trades that we had in the last few days. One of them, finally, that we've had off the charts, VMW. This one had a nice gap up after earnings. Just to show you how long sometimes it takes, this was your gap up. Look at all these sessions it took for it to finally continue. So in this, maybe you're in a feeler, maybe you're in a tier 1, but then finally, when it announced a 700 million share buyback, that was your get to tier 2. Maybe take some profits into the gap and then sit in some. because it looks like it still has some room, and no reason to be so big right here, but worthy of staying with, considering that you still have a big gap in front of you to get filled. Microsoft, remember that yesterday? That was a pleasant surprise. It's been crushed since the last quarter earnings, consolidated a different type of pattern in the lower end of the range, went long yesterday. People saw it on the VTF. I think I even sent a tweet out around 336 saying long some Microsoft, it's acting well right here, and then boom. Okay, so now this is in the gap. How many days we get in Microsoft, I don't know, but I'm still long it, but I have less than I had last night, but I think it's worthy of staying with. We'll see if it could grind its way up to this 33 area or so. Another trade with the Ags. The Ags have been battered and bruised and been crushed. But with that said, if you weren't caught in this mess to the downside, there could be a trading tactical opportunity. So I saw some volume coming in the last few sessions, and finally I took some home long and a decent trade, and now I'm holding some. Who knows? Maybe it gets into this gap. Mosaic also a little bit stronger actually. It cleared this little area, and now it might get into its gap also. So just for things to do in August, they look like they're in the game for higher prices, and who knows, if you get a little piece of news that the cartel is considering doing whatever they're doing with prices, you get a nice little gap up present. So that's fine. Okay, in triple D land, or sorry, in the 3D printing land, SSYS had a really nice day. Some people were in this. You know what? Here's a nice sector. Innovative, on the move. It's been trending for a long time. If you're an investor in it, congratulations. You just got rewarded. If you looked for a trade when it was up strong in the morning and saw the volume, you also got rewarded, and it looks good. This trend has been strong. It's been going to the upside, and it's been a little choppy within it. But overall, new technologies, new groups are hard to come by, and this one has been very nice. Triple D, who used to be the leader, is lagging a little bit, but we'll see, if this one will, get a little bit stronger. This right now has an upper channel. It tried to get going here, but the earnings weren't, as strong as people would have thought. Red Dog reversal yesterday. It's hanging in there. Above this little area, maybe it starts to get going again. Might need some type of catalyst. I'm not sure, but I'm in small just to figure it out. If you remember yesterday, unfortunately, the metals. Okay, if you come back to me, I was looking to see if I could buy a dip for the metals. I didn't think the type of move would have happened today. Bought yesterday before lunch, and came back and they were like doing nothing. I'm like, you know what? It's still what we caught before. I felt like was a counter trend trade, and it started to just roll over and lose interest. So I'm like, I'm not going to take it overnight. And then you look at what happened in the metals, and the metals right now look pretty good. Okay, look at the GLD. This was the blood on the street lows that we played pretty well down here. Okay, here was your higher low. Here was your little downtrend that it gapped above, and then it's been just lethargic till finally it ignited a little bit today. I was in it here. I thought maybe this gap fill would have happened yesterday, and it started overnight, and here it is now. So I would say this is somewhat back in the game to continue. If you're looking for reasons to be in the metals, today gave you a reason, especially if you sold here, to buy the dip there. Silver also, potent day. This is, remember that day when we bought this 1830? That was a nice trade, and then from there it's been pretty lethargic, but it's been holding where it had to, and then it's been just trending lower. Then finally it woke up today, and those who got in early got a little rewarded. Now your next level in silver comes in right around there. Okay, you started to see a little better action, even like this is not, just as far as, FCX and the material type trade or whatever they classify this as. Decent action there. Maybe that continues. Some people were looking at UNG today, where everyone's been looking for a bottom here, and this has been absolutely annihilated. Here is what you call a capitulation type trade, where it opens lower, trades back above, engulfs a prior day. Perhaps this marks the bottom if you've been looking for a bottom in natural gas. I don't really look at this group, this sector, and I'm just showing it because there's a pattern here, decent volume. I would have liked volume like this here, but not. So who knows? Maybe that was it. So take a look over there. Then we've been talking a little bit about the Nikkei, and every now and then we see some type of pattern to get involved with there, whether it's the EWJ, the DX, Y. Today we bought a little bit of the YCS. That's actually more of a currency trade, but all in all, last time we bought this was right around here on this little reversal. It took some time before it finally retraced up here. You had a little bit of a reversal, right, where it made a low, closed higher. So who knows, maybe you get some kind of trade there. We shall see. This was a nice trend in the beginning of the year, and it's been a little wishy-washy since, but worthy of a little bit of a take-home, something to do. Again, not big size, but who knows? Could be pretty decent. Not a heck of a lot of volume, but enough to warrant a trade. And really, that's kind of it. You want to talk a little negative? We could talk about the XHB. Still, nowhere. The housing stocks are still not really getting any kind of traction. Still caught down here in the lower ends of their ranges. Not looking so good. Financials were very wishy-washy today. The news on J.P. Morgan. They too, not really leading right here. But not, they were a little bit of a headwind, but they came back. So all in all, see if it could handle it and hold above this. So if we saw the financials start to really break below this, I think the market might have some problems with 1684. If we saw the home builders, break this lower end of this wedge, which it's been building, perhaps that would be some, more fuel to the downside. But as of right now, it would be nice if the market hangs around in this range, and we get to trade these stocks that are showing relative strength to the long side or even relative weakness. We had a nice trade in IBM. Some guys caught it short. Some played the puts. So there's lots to do. And if you don't want to do anything, that's fine too. It's August. Go to the beach. Go to the mountains. Hang out. Recharge your batteries. That's what the summer's for, because before you turn around, it's the fall, and you're like, where'd my summer go? So with that said, you had a great July. We're up 5% so far. Digesting a little bit in August, but still very nice individual stock action. And we'll see if volume starts to dry up and what the scenario is. A lot of people talking taper talk, what's it going to be? For me, I think that they're going to come out in September and announce the actual taper for October. A lot of time between now and then. As far as the, who's going to replace Bernanke, there's talk between obviously Yellen and Summers. I'm not an economist, but I think Yellen is the right play. And again, know your time frame. If you've been long stocks for the last few years, stay long them. If you're putting a macro scenario together, or you've been putting money every month into an S&P fund or a 529, I think you continue to do that. If you're a stock picker and you're holding stocks and you're buying the dip and you play some breakouts using a tier system, stay with that, but maybe be in tier 1. And if you're looking to just hold 4, 5, 6, 7 situations, depending on how they're acting for 1 to 3 days, which is really how I've been operating the past month or so, that's cool too. So with all that said, pick which way you want to go about it. Stop reading everything out there. Stop looking at the naysayers who give you a negative attitude or a negative composure. Go through life with glass half full, not empty. You'll enjoy yourself that way. Live life. You're dead a long time. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.